This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. I'm filling in for Sean today, who's at a media event for Chrysler. Well, look at this. More bad news for Tesla. Sales in China fell again in May, and they've fallen every month this year, even though EV sales overall are roaring ahead in China. It looks like the new Model Y, which has been on sale there since February, is not turning things around. Last month, Tesla shipped 61,662 Model 3s and Ys from its plant in Shanghai, and that's down 15% from last year. Meanwhile, Elon Musk is back in the news for trashing President Trump's One Big Beautiful budget proposal. Musk called it a disgusting abomination that will add trillions to the national debt. There's all kinds of speculation about why Musk is turning on the president. Some say it's because Trump eliminated EV subsidies. Others say it's because the administration ignored Musk's suggestion for the new head of NASA. But I'll make this point. Musk drove tens of thousands of customers away from buying Teslas because of his close association with Trump and his politics. Musk must know that the faster and further he distances himself from Trump, the sooner he might get some of those people to start shopping for Teslas. Sales of new cars in the U.S. last month were up almost 7%, or at least they were for the automakers who still report monthly sales. Ford was up more than 16%, Toyota was up almost 11%, Hyundai, Kia, and Honda were up more than 6%, but Subaru was down more than 10%. And Mazda fell more than 18%. Wards Auto reports that the SAAR, or the seasonally adjusted annual rate, came in at only 15.6 million vehicles. That's down sharply from the 17 million plus that sales hit in March and April. And that suggests that automakers and dealers are starting to run out of their pre-tariff inventory. We think they'll have exhausted that inventory by the end of this month, and that July sales are going to show a sharp slowdown. Here's what could be another black eye for EVs. A Chinese cargo ship carrying cars had to be abandoned in the middle of the Pacific Ocean after it caught fire. The ship, which was traveling from China to Mexico, had 3,000 cars on board, 800 of which were EVs. The U.S. Coast Guard, operating out of Alaska, had to evacuate all 22 crew members when they could not put the fire out. Thankfully, no injuries were reported. And we don't know if the EVs were the cause of the fire, but it seems to be a problem with ships carrying EVs on board. There are at least 4 instances of ships carrying EVs that caught fire. Euro NCAP, which rates the safety of vehicles in Europe, just tested the ADAS, or assisted driving systems, in several models, and it says Tesla and Volvo need to do better. The Kia EV3, Porsche Macan, Renault 5, and Toyota BZ4X all earned very good ratings for providing, and I quote here, exceptional balance between driver engagement and safety backup. But the Tesla Model S and Volvo EX30 received moderate ratings. While Tesla's Autopilot scored very highly in engaging to avoid a collision, Euro NCAP downgraded it because it says calling it Autopilot misleads consumers about its capabilities. Euro NCAP was also critical of Autopilot's steering input, which it says is resistant to a driver trying to override it, and when the driver does, it automatically disengages, limiting its usefulness. Euro NCAP also downgraded Volvo's Pilot Assist because, like Tesla, it uses a center-mounted touchscreen, which forces the driver to take their eyes off the road to view any alerts. And it wasn't satisfied with Volvo because it doesn't shut off the system after repeated alerts for the driver to re-engage.
Developing today's vehicles, issues can happen in an instant. What good is knowing your problems without the data to solve them? Meet Wireless Neovi Cloud. your secure off-the-shelf solution, empowering real-time collaboration for quick resolution. With wireless Nearby Cloud, your team can prevent issues before they can escalate. Driver communication data and remote diagnostics to analyze and resolve your problems using OTA, allowing your executives oversight throughout the process. Wireless Nearby Cloud, your vehicle update solution in production and on the road. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.
In late April, China started restricting exports of rare earth magnets and other critical materials in retaliation to President Trump's tariffs. And now we're starting to see the impact. Last week, auto groups in the US and India issued warnings that assembly lines could come to a screeching halt. Now, Europe is sounding the alarm. CLEPA, the group that represents suppliers in Europe, says several companies already had to stop production, and it warned that more will soon do the same thing. Germany's auto lobbying group, the VDA, says the shortage will soon disrupt or halt production in the country. Rare earths are used in a number of automotive components, and China controls 90% of global production of the minerals. Even though the restrictions were in reaction to Trump's tariffs, China's cutting almost everyone off, reminding them once again of how dependent they are on the People's Republic. And if you'd like more insight into what the U.S. is doing to mine and process rare earths, check out the video we recently posted titled, "Ramping Up Rare Earth Mining in the USA." You know, you're probably never going to hear any senior automotive executive talk about this, but all the mature markets in the world have hit peak auto. North America, South America, Europe, Japan, South Korea, and yeah, even China have seen their car markets stop growing. More cars were sold in those markets a decade ago than are sold today. And there are only 2 regions left in the world that might be able to offer strong growth: India and Africa. And that's why Volkswagen is targeting Africa. It's currently scouting locations for an assembly complex in Egypt to export vehicles across the continent. Volkswagen is considering using existing factories to build the vehicles, or maybe go with a greenfield site. VW currently has a full manufacturing complex in South Africa, and it assembles vehicles in Kenya, Rwanda, and Ghana, but it wants to operate at least 5 new assembly plants in Africa over the next 10 to 15 years. Nissan is launching the 3rd generation of the Leaf to try and recapture the advantage it had when the car came out in 2010. A key goal of the program is to provide a truly credible alternative to combustion cars. Along with all new styling, the car is credited with a coefficient of drag of only 0.26, though European versions get a 0.25 CD rating, presumably thanks to narrower tires and smaller mirrors. Other aero details include flush door handles, active grille shutters, and flush wheel covers. An electrochromic glass roof also contributed to the aerodynamics with a flushed mounting, and it helped preserve headroom by eliminating the need for a retractable sunshade. Unfortunately, that's all the info that Nissan has released so far. It's putting out a 3-part video series. To build interest in the car, we're going to have to wait until those videos hit to get more info. Yesterday, ZF unveiled an intriguing new powertrain unit for EVs that it's developing. They call it Select, and it combines the e-motor, the inverter, gear reducer, and differential into one package. Or automakers can select which part of it they want to use and integrate their own components. ZF says the complete unit, using all of its components, is only 89 kilograms. That's 196 pounds. It displaces a total volume of only 66 liters, can accommodate outputs up to 300 kilowatts or 402 horsepower, and it costs 15% less to manufacture. Thanks to using AI to identify hotspots in the drivetrain, efficiency increased 6%. And with the addition of a heat pump, ZF claims a 30% better driving range even at minus 25 degrees centigrade, which is 13 below Fahrenheit. It also cleverly uses microprocessors for dual use. For example, when the onboard charger is not being used, the chips in the charger do other work. But ZF is still working to combine the inverter, onboard charger, AC-DC converter into one unit, including a boost charger that will take a 400-volt system to 800 volts. And it wants to add more aggressive regen braking, which will bring the car to a complete stop without using the brakes, as long as the driver is not braking hard. ZF says it could put the entire unit into production within 2 years, though parts of it are already available for automakers to buy. And that brings us to the end of today's report. If you like our coverage and would like to see it continue, please consider becoming a Patreon or YouTube member. Thanks for your consideration, and please join us again back here again tomorrow.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering boost your game. 3rd-Gen Automotive Technologies, the formula for better mobility. And by
There's nothing wrong with heavy metal.
Hey, lighten up.
But with world-class composite material, 3rd-Gen Automotive Technologies makes vehicles lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly.
Performance that shines, even in the rain. That's what really matters. Bridgestone Potenza tires, improved grip in wet conditions.